Hello there friends, and welcome back to more Bravely Default. Last time, we took a look at the long-awaited Summoner and the newly acquired Vampire, and got to see what really made them tick, especially with their unique way of actually obtaining their own abilities, with Summoner having to learn their abilities through... Actually, upon consideration, they're actually quite similar, where the Summoner has to endure an attack from their summons to obtain their spells, and the Vampire has to go around against regular enemies and take hits before they can learn their own. That's actually something that I just realized. It's pretty similar. That was not intentional. But, anyway, you may be wondering why Idia here looks a little different. In fact, everyone here in the team is on a slightly different job. Well, kind of. Anya's still on Red Mage, but this is all for a reason. Today, we are going to be leveling up a lot of extra jobs to get some support abilities. This is not required. If you've been following along, at least loosely, you are definitely at a position where you can continue on into the game without any real extra help or anything. But I want to level up a certain few extra jobs to be able to show them off a little bit better as we proceed forward. But because of that, I just want to go ahead and note up front that, once again, this is an episode that will not have any main scenario or sub-scenario progression, and if you want to, it is entirely skippable. But for those who are staying around, let's go ahead and start today's video by checking up on Norende Village. I think today, in correspondence with my intentions for this video, we'll be leveling up the accessory shop to level 10 and obtaining the accessory growth egg, which is similar to the golden egg, items that we'll go over here in a little bit, but just know that it has something to do with growing your stats. So let's go ahead and purchase it. Well, I guess set it up for purchase. These items are very expensive. We won't be able to get them for a little while. So, you want to level grind in Chapter 4, eh? Okay, so your best setup, first things first, choose the job that you want to level up. This isn't too big of a step, but go ahead and pick something. For me right now, I'll be setting Idia to Ranger, Anyas to Red Mage, Ringabel to Templar, and Tiz to Thief. I'll be moving a few things around, but I do have a set goal in mind for each of these jobs and their levels, and as soon as I reach them, I'll be moving them over to a new job. Now, I'm not aiming to, get every single job up to a certain level, but I am looking at a certain few for each character to sort of get them bumped up. So, for example, I'll probably be raising Anyas's White Mage and Black Mage job levels up a little bit higher, so she might have some access to maybe level 5 spells. And for her Red Mage, I'm going to be getting her to at least job level 10 so she can get access to level 4 Black and White Magic, so I can finally start using something like this spell and whatnot. For Ringabel, I'll probably move him over to Freelancer or Vampire, or I'll continue to level up Spearmaster. We'll be jumping around a little bit. Tiz, I'm mostly setting him on Thief because I want... thieving and stealing is going to be something I want to do at a later point. So I just want to go ahead and have this at a higher job level, so his damage and execution of his abilities is not far behind the rest of the team. Idia is the most important of the bunch, as I'm leveling Ranger on her so she can eventually get to a point where she can get access to certain support abilities that this job can offer that'll make her damage as a ninja, which I'm probably going to keep as kind of like her main job, even higher. But once you've picked your jobs, what is the strategy? Well, honestly, the main strategy isn't very difficult. The main idea is to pretty much have everyone, or at least as many people as you have, equipped two-handed, and ideally a powerful weapon. If you don't really have anything super duper strong, here in Eternia, you can buy Flame Tongues, and you can just buy a bunch of Flame Tongues and set them on your team. I won't need that because Spears have extra damage against multiple enemies, and Tiz has S-rank affinity with the Mutsu no Kami thanks to my support abilities. But Ringabel will be running the Flame Tongue. But basically, two-handed Flame Tongues on your team, and if you have access to it, you could even go to the Knight support abilities and equip Sword Lore to make your aptitude even higher. But once that's been set up, you go here to Eternia, and you are going to be looking for a group of enemies that I've mentioned before. I mentioned in the Dragon episode, though I actually did not encounter them. What you need to do first and foremost is make sure that your game is, set to where you can actually gain encounters. Now, these aren't the enemies we're looking for, but just to give you an idea of what the setup looks like, is we're basically just going to be utilizing Crescent Moon as our main attack tool. Yeah, it's not very creative, but it is probably the best way of level grinding, especially right now. And I don't have it on Tiz. It's stupid me. But the general idea is to Crescent Moon these guys down and basically just sweep them down. And if you can take them down in a reasonable amount of time without getting hit, you can get the Unscathed bonus and get extra JP, which is what I'm going to be looking for. Without any bonuses, we got 136 JP for that encounter, which wasn't even the one I was looking for. We got a lot of job abilities. Nothing that I need to go over just yet, but that is something. An extra thing you can do is that the enemies we're looking for do have access to poison, so you can equip star pendants and whatnot, but I don't think I'll need that. So, I'm going to continue to grind a little bit. Hey, there's the enemies we're looking for. These are the Mandragoras. They are weak to fire, which is the main reason why I recommend the Flame Tongue as your main weapon of choice. But basically, we're going to try and sweep them down as fast as possible, and then, yeah, lots of EXP and JP. Let's see how much these guys give us. Yeah, Tiz, sweep them right there. 224 plus 20 for the Unscathed bonus. Now remember, every single time you obtain the Unscathed, or any of these bonuses in general, after a little while, they will get higher. The bonuses you'll obtain from completing these encounters will get larger and larger and larger, and you will start to probably get roughly around 300 JP for every completed encounter. The Mandragoras, if my memory serves, only appear during the daytime. I might be completely wrong on that, but but just in case, I'm probably going to be only grinding during the day. But this is pretty much going to be the general video. I'm going to be speeding things up. This video isn't going to be too long. I'm just going to be lightly discussing what I'm going to be doing with the newly acquired job levels and whatnot. And then we're going to be done here. So, I'll see you at the end of this light grind session. Okay, so at the end of this first little grind segment, for Ring a Bell, we have Default Guard, which was one of the main abilities I was looking for. Reduce the amount of damage received during default by 75%. And the other ability I wanted was called Item Critical. Has a 15% chance of a critical hit when using an item. A critical hit will double the amount of damage or recovery. That's pretty much all I wanted for Ring a Bell on Templar, so I'll be moving him on to another job here in a second. But I also moved Anius over to Black Mage. But in terms of her Red Mage, I got her the ability I wanted, which was Black White Magic level 4, which allows the abilities Reflect, Dispel, Aurora, Drain, Spirit, and Fear to be utilized. Tiz also obtained the ability Godspeed Strike. Unleash an attack that substitutes speed for physical attack and ignores enemies' physical defense. It's very BP hungry, but this is easily one of the best moves to effortlessly hit the damage cap in this game, as the Thief already has pretty much the highest speed in the game. So, it's really, really good. I don't think I needed anything else from Thief just yet, so I will be moving Tiz over to something else as well. So, I think I'm going to be moving Ring a Bell over to Vampire, actually, as I want him to go ahead and start getting levels on this. In terms of his setup, nothing's really going to change. I don't think the Flame Tongue's really all that important. It does less damage, but, I mean, it'll be fine. And then for Tiz, I'm going to be moving him over to Pirate. Your heart, Tiz. Pirate is... I mean, obviously, Pirate is definitely one of the best jobs in the game. But the biggest reason why I want Tiz on Pirate... Actually, I'm just going to keep Mutsu Nakami on him due to the crit rate. But the reason why I want Pirate on him is due to some of its higher level stuff. Obviously, Tiz won't reach where I want him to be, but just having access to potential new skills, I'll take it. Idia's gonna be staying on Ranger though, so time for another session. So I think Black Mage Agnes has served her time, and I've actually moved her over to Spirit Master. I'm planning on making Agnes sort of like a utility support character, and Spirit Master will be a nice addition to that roster of jobs. In terms of Ring-a-Bell, he has job level 9 on Vampire, and I don't think there's really anything else I want to grab on him just yet. So honestly, I think I'll go ahead and level... Actually, you know what? Yeah, you know what, actually, what I'm going to do, instead of that, I'm actually going to slot Agnes onto Arcanist. I've been tempted to try and utilize this job a little bit, but I haven't really found a good window to. And since Ring-a-Bell already has Spirit Master job level 9, I think what I'm going to do... do I want to do White Mage? You know what, let's do White Mage. I've been utilizing him as like a healer a little bit in between combat, and I think it'd probably be best if I just go ahead and slot him in there, you know, as a full commitment. I mean, I don't see myself really utilizing Arcanist all too much, but let's go ahead and just level it up just in case I decide to try it out. Idia and Tiz will continue to stay on Ranger and Pirate respectively. I want to try and push as high up as I can in this short window that I've dedicated myself to actually level up. I've gated myself into a window of time to make sure that I'm not going overboard, and we're fastly approaching that. And as soon as that window has been met, I will stop and we will end the video. But for the time being, we're going to continue leveling. Lots of EXP here. Okay, so I hit job level 9 on Arcanist with Agnes, and job level 9 on White Mage with Ring-a-Bell. I did not get the level 5 magic I was hoping for, but I got pretty damn close. And for Agnes, I'm going to be leveling up. This will be the last job I'll be working on for Agnes for a little bit, and it'll be Salve Maker. I'll be aiming for that healing lore at job level 9, which won't be too difficult to grab. And then for Ring-a-Bell, we're going to go ahead and slot him onto... We're going to go ahead and put Ring-a-Bell onto Time Mage. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe I'm wearing this stupid outfit again. I love this job to bits, but oh my goodness, I cannot stand the outfits. Oh man. In terms of Tiz, he's still on Pirate, and he's halfway to job level 12, so I think I'll go ahead and just commit. And Idia is roughly halfway to job level 11 as well. And I'll go ahead and just commit as well. I'll just be barely off of where I want her to be, but I don't want to stand here all day just to grind up to job level 13, which is what I'm aiming for, because that would take longer than it should. So I'll just keep her with what she's got at job level 11, as we level up the remaining job levels I want for Agnes and Ring-a-Bell. Our numbers have already come quite a bit, especially with these two individuals. They've got lots of 9s and 10s now. There's still quite a few 1s, obviously, but they have a lot of ground to cover compared to Tiz and especially Idia. I've kind of got an idea of what I want Idia to be for the remainder of the playthrough, and I've kind of steered her towards that for the majority of the game already, and so the checklist of abilities that I need to get off of jobs that I haven't really messed with too much isn't very much, and similar with Tiz. Anyway, let's get this last little segment done. Alrighty, hit job level 9 on Salve Maker for Agnes and got ourselves Healing Lore. That was my main goal for that level grind. And then Ring-a-Bell, Time Mage, hit save Time Magic MP and Time Magic level 4, which gives him access to Hastega, Veilga, and Comet, which will be really useful if I ever decide to slap Time Magic on him. And Tiz hit job level 12, got Axe Lore, and Idia hit job level 11 and got access to Demon Slayer, which is the Slayer ability, but for the Demon family. So, you know, not bad. But yeah, that's our little level session. I had set aside exactly 1 hour to get everything I wanted done. And right now I'm looking at how long I've been recording, and it's only been 38 minutes. Which, I mean, is not honestly that bad. Games like this are usually critiqued for having a lot of grinding, and while this game can definitely get fairly grindy, especially if you're trying to do a lot of early game grinding, it's not that bad. 38 minutes for this amount of progress is pretty all right. I mean, future games in the series definitely are much easier to actually level grind in. But for the most part, I'm actually content with what I got. I'm going to go ahead and set up my intended comp for the upcoming trials, and I'll see you back here in a jiffy. Alrighty, with my updated job list looking pretty good, let's go ahead and take a look at our new team composition. So for Idia, who would have thought? She's a ninja with a sub-job, spell fencer with sword magic. Her support abilities have pretty much not changed at all. Pierce default, silence immunity, damage dispersion, katana lore. I was going back and forth on whether or not I was going to utilize multitask, which I think I'll go ahead and equip right now. But honestly, I could alternate these, and there really wouldn't be much of a difference. The only major difference is whether or not the enemy that we face likes the defaults often or not. So it can kind of go back and forth. Looking at her gear, she will have the Mutsu no Kami, Kotetsu, and pretty much any piece of gear that can increase her strength that isn't already being occupied by another character. To kind of even out the fact that she has a really powerful katana on her right hand. Now looking at Agnes, she's actually going to be main job Red Mage, sub job Time Mage. Now this might be an interesting choice for people who have played this game before, as Red Mage is not really regarded as being a great main job. But I have my personal reasons. Mostly two. One, the magic is quite versatile, being able to have access to, a cure spell, having access to things like protect and shell, or even dispel and raise, especially Asuna. And then on the black magic side, we have elemental coverage for 3 different elements, and we have things like drain and a spear, along with certain status ailments. It's not like the most high potency attacks or heals, but it still is pretty decent. Also, the outfit's really cool, and I've talked about how much I like the Red Mage outfits before, and I want to rep that opinion. And in terms of time magic, she'll have access to a lot of utility spells like Hastiga, Veilga, Sloga, Quick, and whatnot, and that'll really help ease our tension in the encounters. Now, performing the singing is also not a bad choice, but the fact that time magic, especially like Hastiga, is basically 2 of the singing speed ups in one spell is pretty useful. In terms of her support abilities, slow parry, save time magic MP to make that a lot easier on her MP bar, and then healing lore if I decide to throw her onto the support. I did mention earlier in the video that I wanted her to sort of play a utility caster role, and this is definitely one of the best ways of doing that right now. In terms of her gear, she'll be running the Diamond Staff, so she can have access to staff-based special moves, like Rejuvenation and Lux, primarily, but she'll also have that attack special move. That'll be pretty useful. Dark Shield to nullify dark attacks, which will definitely come in handy against certain enemies. And then a headpiece to increase magic attack, a white robe to increase her mind stat, and then Hermes shoes to increase her agility. This accessory right here will pretty much guarantee her moving first in every battle, which is going to be really useful, especially to help set up certain buffs. Now looking at my main man Ringabel here, I'm actually slotting him onto Vampire with sub-job Salve Maker. He'll be mostly utilizing his genome abilities in order to debuff the enemy, and then utilizing his medications in order to buff us, and as well as debuff the enemy if need be. He'll also have access to White Wind and other healing abilities to help soften the blow if Agnes is feeling a little too overwhelmed. In terms of his gear, he'll be running a Rod for the Rod special moves, primarily Withering Ripple to be more of a debuffer. He'll also be running the Blessed Shield just to have that extra blessing spell if need be, and then he'll be running similar headpieces and chest pieces to Agnes, to increase his magic attack and mind stats, but he'll also be running the magic armless to increase his mind stat, as gear will help scale the Blessed Shield's healing. And then finally, Tiz will be going back onto Swordmaster with Subjob Piracy. This is a combination we've seen quite often now for the past few episodes, and his support abilities really haven't changed all that much, though I've outfitted him more to be a tank with Counter Amp and Default Guard, in order for him to utilize Provoke and his Know Thy Enemy a bit better than he normally did. This will allow him to take hits like a champ and deal really, really powerful attacks back. In terms of his gear, he'll be running the Kiku Ichimonji, the red cap, which will increase his strength and agility to help him basically be speedier to set up that Provoke faster. And then his Viking coat is just a very tanky piece of equipment, and then he has the Power Bracers to increase his strength. He's a pretty powerful guy, and I'm really liking this comp. But yeah, there's our new team composition and our little grinding spree done. So, that's it for today, and next time on Bravely Default, we will be heading to the Holy Pillar to finally end everything and bring light back to this fairly dark world. So, with that said, I'll see you soon.